Seriously Loco, the Seriously Crazy fan podcast for El Paso Locomotive FC. Brought to you by Roughneck Scarves, a proud member of the Beautiful Game Network, and also brought to you by Icarus FC. Almost forgot our newest sponsor. Tonight I'm your host, Phil Bakke. Tonight we have a returning member who hasn't been around for a little while, but he's back. Austin Young, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. Hope you all get used to hearing this beautiful voice again.
No, I hope that we will, because it is great to have you back. And
I'm always here. You guys are used to my annoying voice by now, right? So
it is one of our last preseason episodes, I guess. We're not quite in the time to be able to preview Orange County yet, but we are in that time to be able to talk some of the rumors and news. We've got a couple of big news items to talk about, obviously, from this week, and then we got a bunch of listener questions to talk about. So plenty to talk about tonight. But we're going to start off slightly different than what we normally do. I guess we kind of did this last week, but a little bit of a European overview. And tonight we're just gonna focus on the Champions League, because obviously today, another Champions League match day. We're into the knockout stages. It's a big time, and we started off. It's a bittersweet for me because one of the first slip-ups in the new year for my club, Liverpool, they go to the Wanda Metropolitano and come away with a 1-0 loss against Madrid.
you know what, though? There's no shame in losing to Madrid at the Wanda, because especially with a Saul goal, like that's just what they do. They turn it on when they know that they're the underdog. I feel like they really relish that, and coming up against you guys, like that's, I think if there's anyone who can give Liverpool a problem over two legs, it's them. But I still think you go through at Anfield. So
I will say I'm very happy that Liverpool made it out of there just the 1-0, because I mean that gives me a lot of hope for the away leg. But you never know. I will say Madrid. I'm not going to complain, but Madrid, Atletico definitely, they need a little bit of assistance in playing their style from a referee who's willing to kind of go. I'm not saying that he was like blatantly bad, but there were a few calls where I thought we kind of got like not exactly the rub of the green, like and Atleti's style does kind of feed off of a little bit of that, where, I mean, we get that in USL a lot, where
the shithousery, yes.
Like, you need a little bit of help in pulling that off, but Madrid, I mean, rightfully so. They were good value for the win over Liverpool, and so that second leg is going to be very interesting at Anfield. But
just gotta make sure you don't give up that early goal.
Yeah, that's
with the away goal, it's going to be tough if they give it up.
Right, and that is what worries me, because I mean, Atleti's like full of quality, obviously, but speaking of quality, Dortmund PSG, two stacked teams, was the game that went on concurrently with that. It was looking like PSG was going to squeak out an away win, and then the Ivan Drago regen, Erling Haaland, comes off the bench, grabs a brace in the Champions League. Like, what is it going to take for this Norwegian to stop scoring? Like,
somebody will have to literally chop his legs off. By the way, that's the second goal, which was a complete wonder goal, was assisted by Gio Reyna, the young American who apparently England are trying to poach from us. Not cool.
Born in Sunderland, because Claudio Reyna was in
and
Sunderland.
Apparently he speaks with a Mancunian accent, because shortly after that they moved to, when Claudio went to City.
Right.
He grew up there and spent 5 years there, but he's ours. So, well, we'll see about that, I guess. No, what a tie. That, for me, that was hard to kind of predict, because, I mean, we all know the PSG have their Fantastic Four, and Dortmund's defense isn't exactly solid, but they managed to get the 2-1 going to the Parc des Princes. I think PSG, I don't know. It just looked like Mbappe and Neymar were both playing their own game at times. And then, of course, Neymar came out after the game and said, well, I wasn't really fit, and I blame the club for this. And so, more FC Hollywood stuff continues in Paris.
Neymar kind of ruling himself out. This has been an annual thing. Primarily, it's been personal stuff or whatever, but Carnival going on this week, and he mysteriously popped up with an injury, just before.
It's such a circus. I mean, you buy Neymar because you want to win the Champions League. If you're not winning the Champions League, why is he there? There's absolutely no point. Yeah, so I just don't see them going the distance again. But who knows? Football's weird.
PSG kind of strike you like they kind of seem like that team who is really not. They're built for really one thing, which is dominating Liga 1. They have enough individual quality to do that. Without really kind of breaking a sweat. Whenever they get into these tough matches, tough ties, it just seems like they don't have it in them to see it out. Like they don't have that mettle to be able to get through a tough 2-leg tie. It seems like they always come up short in these tough situations.
Yeah, definitely. But and going up against a strong team like Dortmund, and I don't even know if you guys know this, but I'm a bit of a Dortmund supporter.
Yep.
So, but definitely PSG, just with the attack that they have, scared the living shit out of me. Going into the second leg, but it's gonna be an interesting second tie, really.
Yeah, going back to Paris with that away goal is obviously very big for PSG, despite the fact that Dortmund obviously capable between their attackers. I think we're in for some fireworks in the second leg with PSG needing a goal, and Dortmund not really being that team that is going to sit back and defend.
Dortmund is in recent history have not been fantastic away from home, so this could play into PSG's hands. But good tie.
One of the most I would say not shocking if you watch Serie A, but one of the more shocking results of the round, just based on pure reputation. Atalanta, debutantes in the Champions League, give Valencia, who have obviously been in and around the competition for quite some time, a absolute smashing in Italy, 4-1. Mikka, you obviously, I would say, pay the most attention to Italian football. Atalanta, the free scoring side, do it again.
This is like I had said, shortly before we started recording, I feel like this is an even better story than Ajax, just because Ajax have European pedigree. Atalanta are the new kids on the block. Just for reference here, they're a Champions League side, and they have a smaller budget than most of the English second division sides.
Yeah.
And, somehow managed to turn a profit last year. So this is an extremely well-run club. And with that being said, they've had a lot of, challenges, too. This tie was played at San Siro because their stadium is actually not qualified to host a Champions League match because they're such a small club.
Right.
So they're not even playing in their home, if you will, and they thrashed Valencia 4-1, who Valencia are a European side through and through.
Yeah.
Again, I do give Valencia somewhat of a chance at the Mestalla because that's a really tough place to play, and the fans are insane in Valencia, but yeah, this is an awesome story. I hope Atalanta go as far as possible and continue to be in that top half of the table in Serie A.
Any sympathy for a fellow bat-based club as we are now, Los Murciélagos, Valencia suffering the defeat here, but no, Atalanta, it is a pretty amazing story. And speaking of, the next tie in the Champions League was RB Leipzig, who lots of talk around them in Germany, but they get drawn against Tottenham. I think a lot of the conversation around this tie when the draw happened was, this is a good draw for Tottenham. Being a watcher of the Bundesliga and seeing the level that RB Leipzig can hit on their day, I said from the beginning that this was going to be very difficult for Tottenham, like a tough draw against a team that really is the master of counterattacking, which is a Jose Mourinho nightmare in many ways. And in this game, it wasn't a vintage performance necessarily, but they do enough, get a penalty and get an away goal and keep a clean sheet. So is that not... Did RB Leipzig hit Mourinho with the Mourinho?
I didn't think about it like that. I mean, this is a great result for RB Leipzig, and I had chosen them to go through. Obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I will always not pick Tottenham. But Tottenham are in a transition season.
Right.
And I actually think that the scoreline is misleading. I think this was the biggest 1-0 thrashing I've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, Leipzig had a lot of chances, a lot of space. They have so much pace, just so much talent throughout the side. I just don't see Tottenham getting anything in Leipzig.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, history shows that English clubs always struggle against the German sides, especially in European football. And I'm sorry, I can't even pronounce it, so I'm just calling Red Bulls. Like, I always do. I think even in the message.
Rasenballsport.
Yeah.
For legal purposes.
For legal purposes. I think they did what you have to do when you go away in Champions League or Europa League. You just have to go away, get a clean sheet, and get a goal or two.
And so German side setting the pace in that respect, because the next team, the next tie was Chelsea hosting Bayern, and Bayern going away to Stamford Bridge and not only keeping the clean sheet, but a 3-0 win, dominant performance, like never really looked like giving anything to Chelsea. Is there a conversation kind of starting? I mean, obviously this is somewhat rare, but there was so much talk about the fact that all the English teams had advanced in European competition, and that it kind of showed the quality of the league, and saying that, in the Champions League and Europa League, all the English teams qualified for the knockouts. Well, now after halfway through the first tie, 3 English sides have all lost, and Man City are yet to play Real Madrid. So, what is that? I mean, does that smash that narrative, or is it just a matter of, like, on their day, some of these sides are just like devastating in the way that Bayern was today?
I would say on their day, some of these sides can just be, having the rub of the green, if you will. The Champions League is so hard to win because it's a cup competition, and there's an element of luck involved here. Yeah. But Chelsea, speaking about the fixture itself, Chelsea are another team in transition.
Right.
A lot of young players. I mean, they're having issues with Kepa Arrizabalaga, who's not starting. And I'm not surprised by this result, pretty much. I mean, Bayern are actually doing quite well under Hansi Flick. I wonder if he will stay, given the performances they've shown recently. But yeah, I'm not too surprised by this, and I don't see Chelsea getting anything in Munich either. So
no, but I mean, yeah, it's gonna be tough for him to get anything. And I mean, to be honest, watching it, like, Bayern could have easily netted like 5 or 6 in that game.
No, it was ridiculous. Like, because this was the game that I was actually able to watch today, and there were chances, or there were periods where Chelsea looked like maybe snatching a goal, because Bayern hadn't put one away yet, and that obviously would have changed kind of the calculus of the tie. But as soon as Bayern got the first, it was like this could get seriously ugly, because they were very dominant. And once they are feeling themselves, despite the fact that there's been so much conversation about Bayern this year and kind of like not being at the standard that they normally are, when they're playing, and like a lot of these sides that are left in the Champions League, when they hit their stride in a game, there are periods where like these clubs are completely unplayable. Like, and Bayern was at that level today. It was crazy to watch someone go away and assert themselves like that much over a game. But yeah, I think Bayern. I mean, Bayern definitely learned from last year. I think in the round of 16 they played Liverpool. They went to Anfield first. They didn't score. It was 0-0. And that played so much into Liverpool's hands, having the ability to go away and just, one goal, and now Bayern need two. 2 goals, and now Bayern need 3. Like, it kind of put them back. Now they take a 3-goal cushion to the Allianz. There's, almost no way. Like 99.9% they're through. So, on the other hand, the other tie of the day, Napoli-Barcelona, it was a 1-1 draw. Dries Mertens' wonder goal, and then canceled out by Antoine Griezmann.
Yeah, very poorly used Antoine Griezmann, it must be said. It just shows you that it's really hard to go play away in Italy, especially against Napoli. The San Paolo is a terrible place to go. I mean, as a Liverpool supporter.
We've had zero joy there in 2 consecutive seasons.
Yeah, Napoli have collected an impressive amount of scalps of big clubs. So this tie really, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe Barcelona's quality will win out at the end of the day, but there's all to play for.
Yeah, Napoli somehow recreating like a gladiatorial arena.
They do have Gattuso now. They're playing Gattuso Nacho. So
I mean, Austin, with Vidal gets sent off there towards the end and taking this 1-1 back, Barcelona is obviously advantage Barcelona because of the away goal, but I mean, who has the edge in this tie? Like, when it comes out 1-1 with Napoli having already played at home, do you think Barcelona just are able to see things out, being able to play at the Camp Nou?
Well, I mean, Barcelona's like one of those other clubs you can never count out. I don't follow Serie A very much like Mikka does, so I don't know too much about Napoli. Just a little bit of their history, not about their current club, but just Barca and who they are, regardless if they put on the pitch. Especially playing back home, you never know what you're going to get with them, and it's going to be an interesting tie. I think everything in the second leg is going to be pretty interesting outside of Bayern Chelsea.
couple of games tomorrow. Lyon, Juve.
I don't rate this Lyon side at all. They're not doing how they want to be doing in Ligue 1 this year, and they are. I'm pretty sure they're winless against Juve in European competition, and they don't fare well against Italian sides in general. So, I mean, Juve, they are putting all their stock into the Champions League. I mean, this is why you buy Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's on a pretty good goal scoring run right now. So, yeah, I don't give Lyon a chance, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Yeah, it's a tough tie for Lyon, but the one that everybody's going to have their eye on tomorrow for multiple reasons, Madrid versus Manchester City. Can the band club win the Champions League is the question on most people's mind right now, I feel like.
Yeah, I think for those of us who just want to watch the world burn, we would love that for them to just win it and then be banned. I mean, how the hell would that even work? I don't know why, but I just pick City in this one. But I really think it could go either way. I mean, Real Madrid, their experience, you cannot count them out in any situation like this. But I just feel like City might have that extra motivation.
Yeah.
I mean, from what we've been able to glean from the media is that there is this kind of air of defiance about what's happened with their ban. And I think that might motivate them on the pitch. And they are getting back players healthy, especially Aymeric Laporte. Mm-hmm. Very crucial for them. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting. And Real Madrid are in some odd form right now. I mean, they just lost 1-0 to Levante, and they might have one eye on El Clásico. So, yeah, this is the tie, I think, to watch. So
yeah, I mean, as a United supporter, I mean, I have to go with Madrid, right? But you guys are right, though, with the ban that happened, and it's one of those things. Just as a general sports fan, you want to see it, like, give it back to the man and advance, and possibly win it.
The only question mark I ever have about City in these ties is defensively, and that's why Laporte returning is big. It was weird. He went off or asked to be substituted against Leicester at halftime, apparently without an injury. So I don't know what's going on there, but Pep was like, yeah, he asked to come off, so I substituted him.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit strange. I thought he was being literally rested for this match, but we'll see his involvement. I just think City over 2 legs is vulnerable at the hands of certain teams. Yeah. And I mean, we saw Spurs exploited that last season and kept City from a semifinal against Ajax. So I just think in these situations that the defensive side comes to the forefront. I mean, we saw it with Atleti. We saw it you always kind of see the teams that can defend well, especially at home. So I mean, maybe City have the ability. They're playing away first, so maybe it frees them up a little bit to kind of play with a little less concern about, if they give up a goal, the tie's not over by any stretch, and they can certainly score. So I don't know. It depends a little bit on what Madrid shows up, but I think City just are a little bit vulnerable, and it keeps me from always backing them. Yeah. Where normally, you look at the team sheet and you're like, yeah, that team should go through. Mm-hmm. But defensively, they just always seem to concede poor goals, like when it matters. So, especially this season, they've just given up some poor goals. So, I don't know. We'll see. It should be a lot of fun, but we've probably talked enough Champions League. I guess we should probably move on
before we get another bad review
to Locomotive. We should probably move on to Locomotive. And I mean, the club did the fans a favor today. Big announcement this morning. The 10 a.m. announcement made its triumphant return, and Josue Aaron Gomez is returning to Locomotive. They extended his loan from FC Juarez, so it seems like it still is a loan deal, not permanent, which I know a lot of people were talking about in the offseason. But Gomez coming back to Locomotive, I mean, how big of a signing is this for Locomotive to return somebody that was so important at the end of last season?
Huge, absolutely huge. I mean, if the man scored 8 goals in a little over 1,000 minutes, that return is more than we could have asked for, especially at the moment in the season in which he was really starting to get more involved. It appears to be, from what local media have reported, like an extension of the loan. So interesting. I don't know how exactly that works, but I'm really happy that he's back, because that's just 8 goals locked up and then some. I think he'll play probably more of a part this season. Maybe pairing with Mario Slomis or Bosetti or however, but we just have options now.
Right.
Yeah. So it's great.
Yeah, I mean, Austin, like, he scored really important goals, kind of based on how he came in late in the season, but how big is it that not only do we re-sign him, but he's been with the team in preseason. He's been training with them, playing in the friendlies. He really is going to be like part of the team and part of the starting lineup likely from the beginning. I mean, how much of a difference does that make as well?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I remember last season everybody wanted him to come in, and I think he was injured. Mm-hmm. Why it took him so long to come on, but like you said, when he came on, he did what he had to do. And even that, just like you said, being with them all off season, and as much as the social media team tried to hide it from us, we kept seeing him in the pictures. So we knew he was training. We were just waiting for the announcement. But little upset, though, that we couldn't officially sign him. And what I'm interested to know if it's a full another 12-month loan from Juarez or 6 months. But I guess it just seems like they don't want him down there, but don't want to let him go for whatever reason. But yeah, it's again another 8 goals coming back to the squad. Like you said, he's gonna be in that starting rotation, and I'm excited to see what it's going to do with Bosetti, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
There's a lot of I'd say there's a lot of combinations that Gomez could fit into, and we know that Mark primarily towards the end of last season liked to play with 2 up top, with a 10 behind, and so the idea of playing with Aaron and Marios kind of playing off each other as well, kind of stylistically different strikers as well. You know, Aaron's kind of a poacher, kind of a like in and around the box. Marios big target man type. So you know, you can imagine them playing
Ibra of the USL.
yeah, kind of playing that way with each other. But so I looked up, as you said, you know, 8 goals across the playoffs as well, with a little over 1,000 minutes played, and so I looked up his stats today, and just on Twitter just said he played 103 minutes the whole season before he scored on Noche de Locos, which was his first goal against Tulsa. That was his first, or no, it wasn't Noche de Locos. Was it the away game against Tulsa was his first goal? No, it must have been, right?
Yeah.
September 5th.
Yeah.
September 5th. So he played 103 minutes. Noche de Locos, he scores his first goal, which is the first of the 2 that we needed to come back, tie that game. And so he only played 103 minutes the whole season, all of those minutes off the bench in very small. Multiple of the games were 1 minute, right at the end of the game.
Right.
He ended the regular season with 6 goals in 646 minutes. So from September 5th to the end of the regular season, he played 646 minutes, scored 6 goals, which is a goal every 107 minutes. And if he scores at that rate over a whole season, a goal every 107 minutes, that's 28 goals. Like,
that's like Golden Boot levels.
Asante won the Golden Boot in USL with 22 goals. He scored a goal, still a fantastic return, and also not taking into account Asante's assists, which was also top of the league. So I'm not comparing that. I'm not saying that he's going to, like, you know, I'm not saying Salo Asante, like, come outside or anything like that. I'm not.
Just want to talk.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But Gomez, or Asante last season scored every 124 minutes in the minutes that he played. So a goal every 107 minutes in the meaningful minutes that Gomez scored or played last season is literally a better goal return than the top scorer in USL. So we're talking about a guy who could potentially, and I'm not saying he will, but he could potentially be up amongst like the top scorers in the league.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's why the club wanted to wait to announce him. I mean, because outside of like the preseason matches, I mean, nobody really knew if he was coming back or not. I mean, like you say, he's a great goal scorer, and I think it's just that matter of like not showing your cards until you're ready to. And I mean, it's not like they barely signed him; he's been with the club.
Yeah, and I think, like Christian said, it seems like with the announcement that he has rejoined officially, that they really are trying to make him out to be this marquee player. And it's with the output that he had at the end of the last season, it's fully deserved. So, yeah, it's going to be really great to see what kind of setups we can have and combinations. It's really just awesome to have options, honestly.
It's a little different to have a marquee player this year who's quite soft-spoken.
Yeah, not one for the Twitter fingers, if you will.
So, yeah, it is great to have Aaron back with the team. Obviously, good memories from last season. Me and Austin calling the Sacramento game. That was his late winner was probably one of my favorite moments of the season.
Definitely.
Just like
rewatching it when you tweeted it out again today, it just almost brought me to tears.
Well, and you look back across those goals that he did score, and yeah, there's a couple like the 2 at the end, towards the end of the game against Timbers 2, that kind of iced the game, like rather than being very vital to the result. But
Wasn't one of those on the no-look pass?
Yeah, it was the his first that night was the no look, and then the second one was a cross from Omar, I believe. Towards the end, whipped in, and where he also got wiped out, and like I thought he was hurt, and because he got like stepped on basically, but no, he also scored like very important goals in the end of last season, especially in the playoffs. But his cameo off the bench in Vegas will always stand out to me as just like basically his coming out party of like 2 goals in 21 minutes, and it was like, okay, like I see what he can bring, and that, now we're looking at a guy who I think for all intents and purposes is going to be one of the focal points of our attack, and we're not just saying like, oh, who's this guy from Bravos who we've brought in who's played like 2 Copa games. We know what he is, and he's a known quantity around the team, and so it's just I think it's a very exciting move because it was something that the fans wanted. But it's
especially
also
Christian more than anyone.
Christian is like the biggest Gomez stan. He's already he wants a customized jersey, like he's all in, and I don't blame him because he really is like he's quality, and I think he could be given a healthy season. I think he could be just absolutely massive for us. But
did he ever go back to Juarez during the offseason?
I don't think he was ever actually with Bravos. Like I know he like took an off season and he had like time off, but I don't think he ever went back and trained with Bravos. Like I don't think it was ever even really discussed or possible that like he would rejoin the team. Like it just seemed like he went straight back to Locomotive as soon as he came back from his vacation.
Yeah, no, I would be really surprised if it would have come out because, like you said, they've been sloppy. Yeah, so we would have seen it.
Yeah, that's true. I did think it was funny because the club tweeted today and said like, "Oh, we've had to keep him a secret, but we're happy to reveal." And it was like, well, we knew. You didn't do that good of a job of keeping him a secret. Like
it was like when the kits leaked and they told us not to believe everything we see on the internet. It's like,
and then they were exactly right.
Hey, I'll keep saying it since we're getting leaks now. We're an official club.
Yeah. No, it's all part of it. Like it's all part of the. And I mean, the fact that you have people like us that will zoom in on pictures and try to find like any clues of anything at any point, I think that's a good sign. I don't think that's anything they need to worry about. But the one thing, the one kind of secret that is still out there, and it's not a secret because we know and we've reported this, and but I'm starting to get a little uneasy because player TBA, aka Dylan Maras, is still TBA, and is there any concern that like there is an actual holdup with something and that this deal might not get over the line?
So my understanding is that it really is just paperwork at this point. What is taking so long? I don't know. I mean, I know when lawyers get involved, we tend to drag things out. So, or agents or what have you. Right. But I don't know. That was what I understood to be the case, is that he is pretty much part of the team. I mean, I saw him play against New Mexico United, and by the way, he was very excited. He played
against Cincinnati too, didn't he?
I believe
he's played in every friendly.
Yeah. So and
scored in 2 of them. So.
Yeah, and he looks like a player. I mean, I was really impressed with what he did against United, even though the result was trash.
And every United fan.
But I don't know. Hopefully, it's just administrative stuff, and he'll be. I mean, it's March next week, so let's get on that, Locomotive, please.
Plus, like, I mean, we need to get his paperwork squared away so that he can, file,
which is another week, and then
and be like,
They should have had him popping out of the Aussie costume.
So, so I'm not even joking, but we were talking about unveiling stuff, and in the past we had talked about how this would have been a cool opportunity to unveil a player.
Yeah.
Where they said photo shoot for the team store the online team store, and it was Becky and Logan and Foxy, I think, or someone else who stuck around town. That is an example of would have been a really cool opportunity. I think the Aussie thing would have been next level if you had it. Although height wise, I mean, we'll talk about Aussie a little bit later, but height wise, I thought it was Omar for a second.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah. I wasn't getting the scale, so I was like, "Who is this giant dude that they found to play this mascot?" But anyways, Dylan Mars. I don't know. I'm just in the back of my mind, I can't help but get a little uneasy that he's been around the team. Yeah. He's been here for the whole preseason. He's been training. He's been scoring goals, and yet we can't announce anything yet. And I just can't help but feel a little weird about it.
I mean, I guess if it is just the paperwork, it's got to be a legal thing. But
yeah,
I mean, everybody practically knows who it is, so why even try to hide it?
Yeah, I really don't think. I don't think it's a club decision. It doesn't seem like one of those where, at the beginning of the off season, where we were just announce it because we know that we know these deals are done. So and they were kind of spacing them out for content or whatever. This doesn't feel like that. This does feel like there is something holding up the announcement.
Right. I don't know. I mean, the club always like to tell us that they have their reasons, so... I
just want to make sure that he's not going to be whatever, Tucson dropped a fat contract.
Oh, my God. It's funny because a couple weeks ago when we came out with our piece about Mr. Fat Contract, we had posted it to Reddit, and I remember a fan of Miami FC had responded to it and saying it sounds like Miami FC is going to sign Seb Velasquez, blah, blah, blah. And then I remember this guy saying, I just wish Dylan Mars was coming back.
Yeah.
And that's what I've seen throughout kind of the USL sphere online, is that this is a very well-liked player.
Yeah.
That we are hopefully potentially signing.
Yeah.
So that's cool. We kind of did a trade, I guess you could say, but
yeah, it's like it.
Kind of a swap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think maybe the issue is the fact that he's been playing amateur essentially for the last 2 seasons.
Sure.
Ever since NASL had their whole lawsuit against U.S. Soccer and were barred from being D2 and all that stuff. So, but yeah, between Miami FC fans and Indy 11 fans who have replied to us basically saying that he is going to sign, everybody was super complimentary of him as a player and a person. So certainly a Mark Lowry type of signing, given he also obviously values the attitude as well. So it is I think we'll all be happy when it's done and over the line. And again, as you said, Mikka, it feels kind of crazy that we have so many, despite not having that big of a squad, we have a lot of options in each position. It's not a deep squad numbers wise, but it's
a versatile one.
It's deeper in actual talent.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But then what happens if we run into the injury problem that we did last season?
Well, and that is a concern. I mean, we are,
because we have 19 players signed.
20. Is it 20 with Gomez or is it 21 with Gomez? I gotta consult the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I gotta actually release the final the final version. Its final form, Super Saiyan spreadsheet.
Get the intern on this.
So yeah, I'll get that out. But
yeah, it just seems weird. Like standard, you want to see anywhere like 22 to 24 guys signed. So that's my biggest concern is what happens if we run into that injury problem this last season.
Right.
And yeah,
I think the answer right now, which is kind of crazy, is the fact that we have so many midfielders that can do other stuff.
Yeah.
That, Mark's kind of response to, okay, like, what if, and I'm knocking on wood after each of these because I'm superstitious. What if Mishak gets hurt again? Okay, well, Fabrice is going to be, like, probably that first guy to fill that center back gap instead of Fox.
Yeah.
He's not trying to find somebody who can do something. He's playing someone in a position that they are capable of playing and have played. But there is certainly an element of like worry where we had. Now I think Mark is also kind of banking on the fact that it probably won't get worse than last season. Like it almost can't be worse in terms of the injury crisis that we kind of went through, where just to field a back line in Fresno mid-season last year, we recalled Navarro from loan just to like field another center back because we were that like hurt, and we played probably like I would say 10 or 11 games in a row where we didn't field 18 players, because we were like that hurt. And also Mark, I think, has this like principled thing where he will not play someone he won't put someone on the bench if he doesn't feel they're capable of like contributing.
Right. Yeah. Like not just to fill it out.
So I think there were players who would have dressed or could have like been on the bench, but if he doesn't trust you to actually take the field, then he's not gonna play you.
Yeah.
So I think now the thing, even though we're carrying a smaller squad, I think every person is more capable of contributing. So that's the only thing that gives me a little bit of comfort, despite the fact that a couple of injuries like could really set us back, but
I think you're right. Can it get any worse? I don't think it can. But even if we get in that same spot, we're down to dressing like 3-4 guys on the bench.
Yeah. At least they could come on and do something, I guess.
Yeah.
Like that's rather than looking down the bench and being like, well, none of you are changing the game, so like we're just gonna persevere, But yeah, the I don't know, the squad size is something interesting, but gosh, we've got a lot of listener questions. Thank you guys to everyone who sent in questions tonight, because we've got a lot to talk about. And first things first, a couple of days ago, let's see, that was on Get French Football News. And this coincides with the question asked by Tyler, at Tyler in Savannah, for the artist formerly known as at Tyler in El Paso. He just said thoughts on Alexi Bosetti's interview, which was with Get French Football News. He said, Tyler said, I thought it was spot on, and has anyone recruited him to sit with Eighth Notch if he gets injured and can't play? Referring a little bit to the fact that Bosetti, he's from Nice, France. He grew up as a fan of OGC Nice, and
some say he's an ultra.
He's in the ultra culture and everything, and so You think Alexi could repeat the rebellion if he's sitting at any point and can't play? He goes and joins Eighth Notch for a little bit.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, I mean Alexi. I think it was a Coupe de France tie with Marseille, they are bitter rivals, Marseille and Nice. And like you just said, Bosetti's a lifelong supporter of Nice, and there are shades of the ultra on him. I mean, he's covered in all the tattoos and everything. But he made like a gesture basically with his tattoos and was banned for a match. Mm-hmm. Which he goes into detail in the article, which, by the way, I recommend that everyone read the article. It is very well done. Get French Football News, usually do really good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be really interesting to see him in 105. I'm sure it's a little bit different from the, from what he would be experiencing at Nice. But yeah, very passionate player, and it's just going to be interesting to see him get a full season finally and kind of show what he can do. And he seems very committed to playing here in the United States. So
yeah. How much? I thought it was eye-opening how much he talked in depth about the physicality of North American football, and in this case, coming to the USL, having to kind of cope with that. He said he waited for his visa for a while, so he talks about arriving at OKC and not really being fit. So now that he's got this preseason, we've talked about it in the past, but I mean, how much does it show that last season was kind of like a wash for him, just because he came in not really physically up to the standard of what was going to be expected?
No, definitely. And I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys know this. Bosetti's like the player I'm most looking forward to seeing play full season. You can tell he wasn't fit last season when he did play, and it was the right thing for him to do, to just kind of just sit back and get back match fit and everything. And definitely, he's not the first player I've heard that the style here in North America is very different, but very physical as well. It's a lot more fast paced. I was listening to the sports talk with Kaplowitz and Lowry, and I think he had Zola on, and that's what he was saying. It's so much quicker here.
Yeah,
it's the style of play is a lot quicker, but it's not as organized as it is up in Europe. Like, it's just just get the ball down the line, get the ball on the attacking third, and we'll see what we come up with. And I think just that, and growing up, all American kids play American football, and it's very physical, and you try to tend to take that to the other sports, and I think it just, growing up in that culture, just really brings out that physicality. And he's definitely not the first player to say that about soccer here in the U.S.
The one thing that the two kind of criticisms, I guess, he has about North American soccer, or just comparing it to football in France. He speaks about the tactical and the technical. It seems like Alexi is that guy in terms of Locomotive, where you see him on the ball and you can tell there's something technically just at a different level than most players with the ball in USL.
Absolutely. Like I said, probably on the last pod that we did, the way that he can manipulate a football is unlike many players in this league. And you can see that he has that kind of European academy technical training that they start with from a very young age. So that, I think that's what's going to make him very successful in this league, is because if he can get up to speed physically and then combine that fitness with the technique that he has that his opponents probably won't have, he could be very lethal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's very frank in the interview, and I mean, there's not a whole lot here that I can personally argue with. I think the tactics and all of that and the technical skills certainly have come a long way, but there's still probably some ground to make up in terms of trying to be on the level of, some of our peers in even just Mexico or in South America, and then of course in Europe. But again, though, Mark Lowry, I think, is different in that he does prioritize the tactics here, and it's not just kick and rush, long ball, that
Right.
kind of thing. So,
Right.
but yeah, Bosetti doesn't really sugarcoat anything, and I can't really argue with some of the points he made here about the differences. So
Yeah, I enjoyed the fact that he was very frank, because we spoke in your piece as well, just about transparency versus clarity and all this stuff from players. We love when players are transparent, but we also there needs to be a level of clarity. And I mean, here in this interview, there's literally no question about what Alexi is referring to. There's no coded language. It's all just very, very upfront, and it's refreshing to have an interview like that with an athlete, and especially one that has said. I mean, essentially in this interview, he says he wants to score as many goals as possible. He wants to compete for the Golden Boot in the league, and he wants us to be champions.
Yeah.
You want that.
I love. By the way, though, it wasn't all doom and gloom. I love when he said, "I would say this team would stay up in League Two, no problem."
Yeah,
I like that.
that made me feel good.
Yes.
No, it is. Do you guys find it interesting that he is focused on goals? Because we always, when we speak about him, so often we kind of talk about him as a playmaker. We talk about his ability from set pieces and his ability to deliver a ball, which I mean is ridiculous. Like he plays probably the best cross of anybody. Like I put him up against anyone in that way, but we kind of think of him as a playmaker, but he wasn't speaking. He wasn't saying like, "Oh, I want to be top of the assist chart." He's saying, "I want to be competitive for the Golden Boot. I want to score a bunch of goals." So, how does that kind of factor into how you think about this upcoming season for him?
I think you want that though. You want a player to be hungry. You want him to get after it. If it's just relying on just assists to give him his pedigree, then nothing's gonna happen. You got to put the ball in the net, not only that, but that just means he's got, or put it like that, the hunger to get after the ball, get the ball in the right places, and and it's like you said, and you can put him up against anybody in this league, and nobody crosses the ball better than him. And with that, I mean, why not want to go after certain other things that you just gave people a little taste of what you can do, and now maybe you're just ready to unleash everything, and you feel like you can go after that Golden Boot,
Yeah, his goal. I mean, we talked about it last time, but his goal against San Antonio, I still think about that, and I hope that we get more moments like that during the regular season and hopefully the playoffs this year, because it is something that he does absolutely have in his locker. That goal scoring ability is there, and maybe, as you said, Mikka, combining a physically more prepared Alexi with that level of quality, maybe he is up at that upper tier.
I will say this, and I'm pretty confident saying this. I think he has more technical quality than Jerome Kieswetter. So I mean, if he can finish at the rate that he did too, then I mean, it's going to be incredible. So, and look where Jerome is. He's in the top flight of this country. So, and I think that's something that Alexi had said might be a goal of his as well, is to make it maybe an MLS. So, It's a big season for him. I think that he's got a lot to play for, and I think that Mark has probably placed a lot of trust in him to be, that guy or one of those guys. So,
the last little tidbit towards the end, he's friends with Alassane Plea.
Love it.
At one of Mikka's clubs, Borussia Mönchengladbach. That was a nice little tidbit there at the end, just the that personal relationship. And Vincent Cosiello, who was pegged for greatness when he was at Nice, hasn't really.
I guess it just didn't work out in Cologne.
Yeah.
But he's at Paris FC now, I believe, right?
In Liga 2.
Right.
So a chance to come back, but But no, it is. It was really cool to see him speak about all of that, and he was not complimentary of supporter culture in North America, but he was complimentary of the crowds in El Paso.
Yeah. We'll take
But I
it.
mean, can you blame him? He brings up a good point that it's so hard for fans to travel here.
Yeah.
Because of the distance. I mean, when you're in Europe, it's a train ride away, a couple hours just to go to an away match. And
Right.
Or our closest away match is Phoenix, 8-hour drive. And
Yeah. Although most away fans are banned in France, so
Right. Yeah, which he also spoke about being an ultra isn't easy, I think was the quote. But no, yeah, he spoke about how it's not like when he was at Nice, you're playing Montpellier, and it's you go to Montpellier, go to the match, and then you're back home by dinner.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just different here. So, but no, it was great, and I was kind of surprised to see it because get French football news is like big outlet, very kind of connected to a lot of things in French football. So it was really cool to see a feature done on a player that's here in town, and if he does have a big season, I imagine that they'd take an interest as well, in his success. So hopefully he does, and we can all celebrate that together. But we have a bunch of questions to get to, so we'll try to get through these. So Nathan at Nathan 750-15711.
is he giving us his phone number? Or?
I don't know. But Nathan he's super involved in the podcast, and a patron as well. So thanks, Nathan, for that, because it is so awesome for us. So he said, aside from the on-field performance, what would you like to see from the front office side of things this year and the next 2 to 3 years? So
more scoops. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Any short-term things that you guys would want to see out of the, because I think the big stuff we know, stadium is obviously one of the things that we all want.
I just want to know that they're working on it. That's it.
Yeah. So I guess status of the project, and I think there's a little bit of politics that go into that as well. Yeah. And
we could talk all day about that arena, and then
I mean, is there anything else that you guys would want to see from Mountain Star in regards to Locomotive?
I think just more promotion. I still feel like there's a lot of people in El Paso that still don't know that there's a soccer club here.
Fair.
I'll talk to people and they'll be like, "Oh, we have a soccer team." I think just promotion and awareness in the city, I think, needs to go up a lot higher this season. I mean, granted, if we would have won the cup last year, it would have been a lot easier to do it. But just how well we did last season, that should push them to make it even bigger.
You shouldn't have to win a title for people in the city to know about.
Oh my God.
It's the town we live in, though. Unfortunately,
I think for me, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think for me, from a front office perspective, in terms of building the club and making it a serious club that kind of mirrors what we're used to when we talk about clubs in Europe and stuff. I want them to focus on building the levels, the youth academy, and having that pipeline, because that, to me, we have a couple of local players, obviously we have that kind of connection, but I think in terms of building the club, and this includes probably adding a women's side and all that stuff down the line, and where we're kind of, it is a club and not just a team, because as it stands, it's really just a franchise that has a team.
True.
So I think building the club into something that has those that infrastructure, and obviously a stadium goes along with that, but adding these levels and adding the kind of thing where it's like a kid growing up in El Paso is like, I want to play for Locomotive like one day, and they like try out and get, they're playing for the U12 Locomotive team or whatever, and we can have those guys where it's like he's been at the club, fast forward 20 years and it's like this kid has been at the club since he was 9 years old, and now he's like making his first team debut for Locomotive. Like that to me is like something that adds to the kind of connection between El Paso and
the club.
The club.
Instead of just putting these like all-star teams together for these tournaments.
Mercenaries. No, I'm kidding.
Right,
but,
like for the academy games or whatever.
I couldn't agree more though. They need to build an academy, and
I mean, I think that is the idea, because they have Bob Bigney,
of course,
who they was one of the first hires. But yeah, it would be cool to kind of see that commitment to the community and to local talent, because Lord knows we have it. So yeah, there are more Chappas.
So eighth notch hit us with a tough one straight out the gate. So the starting 11 for the OC match.
Bruh.
I mean,
y'all probably know as much as we do.
Well, we can go. I mean, let's go with what we want. So I mean, keeper, easy enough.
Yeah.
Logan starts in goal. We know that. We got that. Back four. So right back, it's gonna be Brian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Center back is likely gonna be Mishak and Chiro.
Yep.
I think.
Foxy left back. And like the update on Foxy, because I know he was like nursing an injury when you went to the United friendly, Mikka. So there were photos this week of him like training and kind of back. It seemed like he was moving good and all that. So hopefully Foxy available on opening day. McKinday obviously, like the depth for him. And then, I mean, if Mark plays the shape that we think he will, I would say it's probably going to be, Richie in the 6. 4-2-3-1. You think?
Yeah, I mean, or some variation of 4-4-2, like his weird asymmetric 4-4-2 that he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, Richie's going to play in the 6 as long as he's healthy. The question is really just like those 2 midfield spots, or that one midfielder next to him, and the 10 are kind of the question mark, I think.
No.
I say Yuma and Dylan Mars.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, because I don't know, Distel, I know, like...
Distel's hard to leave out. I was very impressed by him.
Yeah.
At New Mexico United. Yeah. Scoring goals, man, for fun. I mean, what a player he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's one of those guys where especially in some of these games where teams are going to sit back and try to, like, hit us on the break, being able to add a guy like him who's going to make those late runs that you were crying out for all last season. Like, he's that guy who can arrive late and receive the cutback or make a run ahead of if Lomas, like, holds the ball up.
Yep.
He can make a run beyond him and actually, like, penetrate. So, and then I think based on preseason, it seems like Saeed Robinson is going to be involved in and around the starting 11 as well. Mm-hmm. And then Omar likely is going to be out on the wing as well.
Yep.
And then it's a question of, do we play with a 10? Do we play with, because Marios is likely going to start in that number 9. Do we play with a 10 and it's, either Alexi or does, Gomez play as like a second striker in behind, and then it's more of a kind of a 4-4-2 or a variation on a 4-4-2.
Sure, yeah.
So I think I'll play Gomez more as a striker.
Yeah. And so, it's Gosh, I don't know. There's a lot of flexibility that makes it tough to, until we see how this lineup kind of comes together, it's kind of tough to tell, like, what Mark is going to go with as his kind of go-to starting 11.
I feel like only really the defensive line is easy to predict.
The further forward you get, the harder it gets to
that's good though. Competition's good. These guys need to be hungry and wanting to play every match, so it's good. Yeah.
So at Jake Kaneki, another patron. So thanks, Jake.
Shout out,
said,
Jake.
I want us to play well in the league, but that U.S. Open Cup exit left a bad taste in my mouth. Do you see us getting a deep cup run this year?
I just don't know how much Mark really prioritizes the cup.
And I think last season it proved he really doesn't, because he practically threw out the B squad out there.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, I think that we can rotate better this year in terms of quality. So maybe we'll go for that. And
yeah, I think there's like a.
But Detroit, that's a hard trip, guys.
Yeah,
that's a tough fixture. So
yeah,
they got a hell of a supporters group up there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're gonna it's gonna be an atmosphere that I think we're not really used to. Well, the guys.
Alexi's gonna be like, "This is lit."
Yeah,
but these guys aren't used to seeing like in an away match,
right? And that's it's gonna be a lot different than playing like Timbers 2 or whatever, like some of these away trips where no one's there.
That's when Alexi's gonna go off just because he's used to that.
Yeah, he's gonna enjoy it, but deep cup run is always tough to predict. I mean,
I think
we saw New Mexico last year, like they did it and then finished 10th. So
it's nice, but it affects like. As a USL team, unless you're going to throw all your chips into the Open Cup, making a deep run just affects your finish in the table, really.
And it's the idea of it is very cool. I think best case scenario for Locomotive this season is a win in Detroit, get a draw against an MLS team, hopefully at home, and get like a nice bumper crowd. And then it doesn't really matter. Like, I mean,
MLS
if you go out
teams should be forced to travel, but that's just my opinion.
That too.
Anyway.
Well, that's a just German association things. Where the DFB Pokal is the lower place team automatically hosts. So you have like a 6th-tier team draws Bayern, and they go play in front of 1,200 people or whatever in the middle of the woods. Like, so it's how it should be, but it's.
And again, if they win it, it's like they can chase the treble.
But yeah, I like the idea of Locomotive getting a draw against an MLS side and getting. And maybe that help, maybe that feeds into the promotion and stuff. Like maybe that's what it takes to get people to like give a shit. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, because people thought Zlatan was about to pop up at the swap when we were playing LA Galaxy 2, and I actually had to like explain this to people. Like, there are levels to this, literally.
This man is not playing reserves. Like he wouldn't play for Milan's reserves, like no, let alone LA Galaxy's reserves.
Yeah, no.
No, but I think if anything, it's just at least get a win up in Detroit, get that bad taste in our mouth out. So
I like our chances in Detroit, but it is going to be a tough game, and they've played like. Even away, they've given teams tough games in the Open Cup, and that was before they turned pro. So they're a pro team now. They're not. This is not like NPSL amateur, like college players or anything like that. These are actual professionals. So
are they in League One now?
No, they're in NISA, I guess now, which remains to be seen what the hell that even means at this point. But I'd say that in terms of infrastructure and support, they are like on par with pretty much every USL Championship team.
Oh yeah,
because they were amateur drawing like 7,500 a game.
Oh, yeah.
So like it's just a matter of like what their recruitment is like with the fact they're not in USL, but I could easily I don't think they'll ever go because they have a very independent kind of vibe. So the whole franchise thing, I don't know if that would really fly with them, but we could see them in USL, I think, in the future. But yeah, tough to call whether we'll make a deep Open Cup run. But I think if we can get a win in the Open Cup, as you said, get the taste out of our mouths, and then get a draw against a big team and get a nice big crowd, and hopefully
good paycheck to the club.
Yeah, just kind of enjoy it from there. I think that's a good season. So next one at Lutep Minor. Which returning player not named Chapa do you expect the most improvement out of? This is an interesting one. I think it might feed back into what we've been talking about. But, because, I mean, based on what we said, Alexi might be that guy.
Yeah, for sure. Again, he wasn't fit last season, so I think this preseason he did look sharp. I think this will have done him a world of good. So, yeah, probably Alexi.
I think in terms of players that I am expecting, and I'm not saying that...
you said not to say Chapa. Okay, my bad.
But, I mean...
He was insane against New Mexico United, animal.
He's hitting different levels. Like against San Antonio, he was ridiculous. He played really well, as you said, against New Mexico. So, like, he legit is... he's going to be a staple, like, in and around the first team, and not just because he is from El Paso.
Yeah. I mean, another El Paso kid I kind of want to see improve his memo. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, there's just something about him that I'm liking, but he hasn't shown enough.
Well, Mark did say when we chatted briefly after the friendly that Memo is going to be competing with Braham for that right back spot.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's very much a different player from Braham in terms of being a fullback. He tucked inside a lot, kind of became like an auxiliary midfielder in the attack. But it'll be interesting to see. I think Braham's still pretty much number one, but we'll see.
And then he offers that attack just running up that right side. So.
Yeah. And another El Paso kid that I think like we can expect a little bit more from this season is Omar. Mm-hmm. And it's not more in terms of the what he was doing, because most of what he was doing was correct and good, and he was getting into the right areas. It's just the end product. Mm-hmm. And I think if he can add just a few goals and assists to what he was doing last year, he can be so good for us. And he gets into those areas. It's just about execution. And I won't belabor that point because we talked about it basically all last season. But that is like, I think there's just so much, and I guess it's probably what most managers have probably thought about Omar in every like team that he's played for, in that he's like this close to being like the best player in the league, but it's the toughest like distance to close, because end product is ultimately not easy, and it's why there's a difference between the elite and the average,
right?
But yeah, so I think we can expect. I guess the El Paso boys we're expecting big things from this season.
No pressure.
And then
Alexi and the El Paso boy.
Yeah, and then our ultra as well. But it's also tough because so many of the guys, as I look across, like, am I really thinking that Richie is going to be like miles ahead of what he did last year? Like, probably not. But that's not a bad thing because
he's solid,
so good. Like, so it's not an insult for us to say that we expect more, because I think a lot of these guys are contributing like positively already. So the next one was Oh, Kevin Cruz, he said he's at the _KCQ94. He said, do you think Locomotive will have a solid start of the season coming in from 2 tough preseason matches against OKC and Phoenix? Or will it bring some consequences being so close together? So, a couple of preseason games and then like kind of straight into the season. Do you think there's any potential for issues playing those 2 games?
No, I think it was I think what Mark did here, or the front office, whoever scheduled those games out, is correct an error with an overcorrection, because last season we went in with like 5 friendlies before the season started.
Yeah.
And we just had like a horrendous start. So now it seems like there's easily way more friendlies this season, and I guess just to get the guys more into the rhythm of everything to hit the season strong, because a team like Phoenix is hard to catch later in the season, so might as well try to get a head start on them now and get it going already.
Yeah, no, I can't really disagree with any of that. I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. I mean, from what I could tell from the one friendly that I went to, and I know, Phil, you would go to another one, I don't think anybody's playing 90 minutes. No. So there's a ton of rotation, so should be okay.
Yeah, most guys were playing between 45 and 60.
Yeah.
In those matches, and I'm sure there will be a couple of guys who start in those games start getting closer to 90 minutes, but as we get closer to the start of the season, but I'd say they're probably playing 60 most of the guys, and then rotating, and I mean, I don't know how it was at the United game, but every it was like half an hour, and then there would be like 8 changes.
Yeah, no, yeah, there
15.
were like full sale changes. Yeah, so
they would just change the team out like every half hour. But Kevin also asked question for each of the members: which attacker or which player do you think will score our first goal of the season? So Derek Gebhard had that honor last season.
Have you gotten your jersey yet?
I still owe him a customized Locomotive kit. I will get it on the navy blue from last season. So anyone with
are you gonna do that this season
with the customization hookup? You know what? Yes, I will. I will do that. Whoever scores our first goal this season, I'll put on the back of the new kit.
Oh man, who am I gonna go for? I'm gonna go for the man from Nice.
Yeah,
Alexi Bosetti. I think he gets the first one.
I think it's gonna be either Alexi or Distel.
Okay, so the French connection.
Yeah. Yes,
I'm gonna go. He started last season hot for North Carolina, and I'm gonna say that Marius Lomas, the Dutch Zlatan, he grabs the first one. I'm thinking, basically chest down, ball into the box, chest down, hip high volley, Zidane style.
Damn.
Zidane into the top corner.
I'm gonna say he does scare me a little, because my prediction still stands that nobody has yet to score from a set piece, and I always said that Mishak was gonna be the first one to do it.
Direct from a free kick. Yeah, it could be. Mishak and Marios are gonna fight over free kicks now. So.
Yeah.
But Mishak's two different approaches. Mario's going for the curlers, and Mishak looking to murder the goalkeeper with pure power. So.
Yeah.
Or the wall, one of the two. Like, if I was standing in the wall and Mishak's over, it'd be like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good, fam.
I'm not standing over here. At Paul B915 asked, who's the early season favorite for top goal scorer? So not first goal scorer, but top goal scorer.
I think just with the numbers you threw around earlier, I think Aaron.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Because rate last season was insane.
Yeah.
And I don't see any reason why he can't replicate that or maybe even do better because he knows the league.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's been with the team training. I mean, he knows he's with his teammates. There's really no like adjustment period. One would think.
He's
so yeah,
going in healthy.
And I'm thinking too, like when you look at the goals that he scored as well, there's really no reason that's not sustainable.
yeah, they're not like low XG, like
not
ridiculous.
They're not like the Chicharito type goals, like just pure luck and
Like a lot of what he scores is very like he's in the box, he's receiving like it's just based on the service that he gets and but he's not relying on long range, he's not relying on cuz like there are some people around the league who scored a lot of goals like towards the beginning of last year, but a lot of them were like goal of the week or goal of the month and all this stuff, and then like those same players were not popping up scoring goals like towards the end of the season.
It's almost like you can't just rely on screamers.
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, I think Aaron is probably the smart money is on him, but I think we do have a number of players who can be like in at least double digits, like which is more than we can say about last season. So
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have that same problem we had last season when Kiesewetter went down.
yeah,
And we're all wondering where the goals are gonna come from. That's
right. At Taco Darren, Darren in Lubbock, right? Like, who are you most excited to see play again or for the first time? Like, who's the player you're most looking forward to watching in this Locomotive side?
I'm excited to see Misha come back.
Yeah, that's a good shout because that was like the what could have been.
He was on a tear, man. Like,
Not to mention like,
That it got a tear.
and not to mention that he got
knocking on wood.
he got hurt in a Gold Cup run where Haiti went to the semifinals.
Yeah.
Like,
That's so cruel.
I feel for him. Like,
It still hurts.
yeah, but
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm really interested to see Distel in like a really highly competitive
Yeah.
matchup. He looked incredible from what I could see against New Mexico United. He just looks so athletic.
Yeah.
And like he offers so much. He doesn't seem like one dimensional.
right,
And so yeah, I'm really, really interested to see that how he plays and how he's used like tactically.
right,
Because he looks like he could be anything you want, really. Goal scoring 10, pressing 8, late arriving 8,
Right.
A 6.
yeah,
Because he just looks like such an athlete. So I'm really excited about Zola.
yeah. The I don't know. It's a tough question, but I think, gosh, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. A lot of them. I'm excited to see everybody. I guess maybe in terms of being intrigued, I'm intrigued to see Foxy get a full season at left back.
Yeah.
We saw how good he was last year towards the end at center back. Like he grew into that position so much, and he also was able to. He was playing balls over the top, kind of like in that. I mean, I watched Van Dijk do it because I watched Liverpool, but like pinging balls out from the back, like when we were trying to break teams down or find ways in behind, like he was that guy playing. The one game, I can't remember who it was against, but he played like 7 of 8 accurate long balls or something like that. Like,
it was like Portland or something.
Something stupid where he's just pinging the ball around for fun. Like, so I hope that we can see that translation into that left back spot, because without Kiffy, we know how important he was for us last season, and so replacing that production from that fullback spot, I'm very intrigued to see Fox like get that opportunity to be that guy for us. So the next one came from at Colin Deaver TV. So
I just saw it.
Our boy over there. over there at KTSM. He just said which player will score a goal that elicits the 2020 version of the Baki Gomez from 2019. I mean, it might be Gomez. Like this. But no, I mean we'll be doing the watch-alongs again this year. We're probably gonna migrate them over to Sportscaster. So if you guys have seen, I've been doing some like alternate commentary stuff over there just for S's and G's. So yeah, we're gonna keep doing the alternate commentary for away games. So on the 6th, when we kick off against Orange County, we'll be doing the watch along, well, not here, but in my living room probably, as we nail down the location of the watch parties and all this stuff. But yeah, so there will certainly be moments at our watch alongs where we get that excited reaction, especially when the playoff race is on towards the end of the season, which that match played a huge part in our ability to avoid the play-in game and all of that. So yeah, it is. I don't know who's going to do it, but I get the feeling we'll have a moment like that.
I think it's just hard to predict something like that. Like, who would have thought we would have had that moment last season?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that about does it for our listener questions. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah. So the last item on the agenda as we close out the night, it is the newest flying mammal in the Locomotive family, and Ozzy the Bat, the mascot. It's I'm going to say mixed reviews is what we've gotten in terms of, it's mostly rival fans who have been taking the piss, as they say. But the mascot, I mean, it's what is the takeaway from Ozzy the Bat?
I love it. I think that first of all, okay. Guys, it's a mascot. I mean, I've seen people even in like the Locomotive Twitter sphere getting really bent out of shape about this, and that's fine. You're allowed to have your opinion. I'm not saying that, but guys, this thing is here to take pictures, to dance around, to entertain children who have drank $9 lemonade at the swap. It is genuinely not that deep. Like, if you're upset about this, it's just...
Which then annoys the parents, and the parents buy the $10 beers at the swap.
That's all it is. That's all it is. So... No, but, I mean, it's for real, though. Like, it's not something to be getting upset about, honestly. Right. I like it. I think a bat is unique. Like, the... Ozzy Osbourne biting the bat, like, it makes total sense. It's not like, you know, full meme like Thomas the Tank Engine or something stupid like that. I like it. And again, I would love like Los Murciélagos Sticks as a nickname, because that's just badass. And it I think of like Valencia and Levante and those clubs in the former Crown of Aragon who all have the bat heraldry on their badges. I think that would be awesome. But I like it. The mascot does look a little goofy. Yeah. But it's a mascot. Right.
It's for kids.
It's for children. Yeah, so it's cool. I like it.
She practically took the words out of my mouth. I loved it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to freak out about it. None. Like, she got it on point. It's for the kids. If you don't like it, don't take pictures with it.
I dropped this in our group chat earlier this week, but I want personally a moment that was a very low moment for my Liverpool fandom. When we were at Vicarage Road getting battered by Watford like 3 seasons ago or 4 seasons ago, whenever that was, like 2015. And Harry the Hornet, who is Watford's mascot, which is a literal bee, did a Odion Nagalo, newest member of Manchester United. He scored the goal to make it 3-0, and he had a celebration where he always slid towards the corner flag on his knees, and then he would point up to the sky. And there's just an iconic picture of him having done that celebration, and Harry the Hornet mimicking him right next to him on his knees pointing at the sky. And it is literally all I want for an important goal to be scored or a game-winning goal or something like that, and our mascot just does something so ridiculous. And there's these like iconic pictures where, you know, like there's like our players are all like grouping at the corner flag like in a you know, team hug or whatever, and fucking Ozzy is like also hugging, you know,
It's like,
Bat wings right over him. I'll tell you, I just want somebody to score a goal and mimic biting his head off. That's all I
oh
want.
my god.
that would be amazing. But yeah, you guys nailed it. I just it's nothing worth getting upset about. I also can totally I get why rival fans will like banter and stuff. Like it's part of it, and I'm fine with that also.
Do some rival fans want a mascot like a cup or?
But that's what I mean. You look across like the biggest clubs in England and stuff.
Yeah.
They all have mascots. Like
Crystal Palace has cheerleaders. Let's just talk about that for a second. At least we don't have cheerleaders.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah, because like mascot wise, like Liverpool have the mighty red, which is a liver bird, like a cartoon bird.
Arsenal have Gunnersaurus.
Gunnersaurus is like the ultimate meme.
Yeah.
But like it literally does not impact anybody's like view or whatever of the club. Like
Right.
it doesn't impact their standing in.
It's a bit of fun.
Like United have Fred the Red, which is a devil that looks like a cartoon mouse. Like which it's also really funny that they signed a player named Fred after the fact that they had a mascot named Fred. But anyways, no, it's all like teams do this all over the place, and it's not like I think people equate, especially in the US, they equate mascots and that sort of stuff with like American sports, and they're like they have this like purist idea of what a soccer club is, or a football club, or whatever their kind of vibe. Never
growing up around one.
But that's the thing, is like it's not real. Like people do this shit. It's marketing. It's a way to engage with kids. It's a way to get them interested in stuff and do events and do like all this extra like stuff outside of the game, because no one is like, oh, let's get a mascot because it's going to give us X competitive advantage or whatever. Like it's just not. It has nothing.
I don't know, unless we have an injury crisis. Can Ozzy play center back? Like,
just put him next to Logan and then walk off the goal, stretch his wings out.
Yeah. But yeah, like it is what it is. It's a mascot. It's fun, and they didn't go on the nose like you said. They didn't go like full, Mr. Topham hat and have a fucking like train related thing. They could have had Punchy. Like,
I was about to say that.
Oh my god!
In the coverall, like they could have had a train engineer out there, like looking like freaking Minor Pete or whatever, like, with the fake head and a like fake train whistle and shit. Like it could have been super corny, but they at least like tried to do something that was mildly like imaginative and like. Yeah. So I applaud the club for not going like fully on the nose.
I like the purple. Can I just say, I love the purple.
Yeah, people are like, why is it purple? Or why are there yellow stripes on it? It's like, have you seen our badge? Like, like it has yellow stripes on it, but what?
So, I mean, we're getting a purple kit this year.
Hey, I mean,
oh my god, that would be awesome.
That would be pretty sick, actually.
And they're just gonna randomly drop it, like Halloween they usually do,
with like the big old bat and
just across the chest. Yeah, just doing like a Batman.
Yeah.
Or who was I guess
somebody actually had one like that.
Yeah, in one of the movies, like is it Batwoman? Like a giant bat across a purple. I don't know, but either way, Ozzy is what he is. I think it's a funny joke. I think it's fun for the kids, and And then who knows? Like maybe he'll hang off the net like Yuma or whatever, right in front of Eighth Notch. So yeah, it's all in good fun, and we'll get a kick out of it this season. I guess that about does it. We went long time. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, we almost didn't record.
I know. We're like, what are we going to talk about?
And then we talk forever. Yeah. But if you guys have made it this far and you enjoyed this episode, then you can catch all our episodes on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Be sure to subscribe, and you'll never miss a minute of any Locomotive content from here on out. We got some big plans as the season kicks off, and the first thing is that watch along, which will be on Sportscaster. So you'll start seeing the links for all that stuff as we get closer to kickoff on March 6th with it, which is literally next Friday. Which is
oh my god! And scarves are imminent.
Yes, we have Seriously Loco scarves are the first piece of merch that's coming out.
Have we put out a sneak peek of them?
Yeah, we got the sneak peek. You can see a sneak peek of them on our Twitter if you haven't already. But yeah, so we will have scarves this year. We've got other stuff in the works, not quite ready yet, but the scarves are just about here. They're actually in town, so they say.
They're in town. They just need to make it to me.
But yeah, so we will have you guys will be able to purchase those very shortly, and we'll get those out to you. We also, I want to give a shout out to and I'll show you guys after this, but we got a bunch of stickers and a couple of signed match day posters from Patrick Gabaldon, who does a lot of art around he's done some of the match day posters. He's done tons of art. Like if you sit in any local like restaurant or anything like that, you'll probably see his paintings on the wall.
He did our alternate logos.
And he did our alternate logos, and so he's been absolutely awesome, and he gave us a bunch of stuff. So in these first kind of batches of merch orders, like we're gonna include some swag that he hooked us up with, some stickers, and we'll have a giveaway at some point for these signed match day posters, which are signed by most of last year's roster. So a nice little collector's item, and we'll have all the details of that on our social media shortly. Other than that, you can, if you haven't found us on social media already, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So find us there, and there will be all kinds of analysis, memes, articles, all kinds of stuff coming out this season. And Locomotive season is almost here, and I, for one, cannot wait. So until next time, guys, we'll be back with a Orange County preview next week. And we'll be looking at how things are shaping up for the first game of the season. And until then, stay loco.